What's going on? What's going on? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Jay Chantalanxi here, certified emotion code practitioner. Welcome to the Ripple Effect of Healing show on my YouTube channel. I do this every Monday, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. We talk a lot about healing, self-care, spirituality stuff, right? So if those topics interest you, please subscribe, share, spread the message of healing. Like I said, I'm here every Monday night, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. I go for about 30 minutes, and I talk about various topics when it comes to, healing and all those other topics too. So tonight I want to talk about a subject and a topic that I think it's very sensitive and just to some people, but I definitely think it's needed. And this topic came about. I actually had another topic prepared for tonight, but something in the recent events of my content creation around this topic, you know, um, persuaded me or influenced me to have this topic talked about on this show tonight. So, if you've seen the title, it is about inner child healing, right? And I'm going to tell you a little bit of backstory of how I changed the topic for tonight's show to inner child healing. So, a couple of days ago, I made a TikTok video. And if you aren't following me on TikTok yet, please do so at JChantalanxi. You'll see me there. Same type of content. But I'm doing this self-care series on my personal TikTok page, and I'm giving people or creating content around specific activities and giving them information about self-care, right? I truly believe that self-care is a direct path to self-healing, right? And we're going to talk about that a lot on this show, okay? But the video that I made 2 days ago was specifically about visualizing your inner child, visualizing this precious part of you that goes overlooked for quite some time. And I had no expectations for this video, right? I make video just to promote and spread more healing. And if I can impact one person, if they watch the video, then that's amazing. I'm totally more than ecstatic about that. But this TikTok video has been gaining so much traction. I mean, I'm already up to like 15,000 views already. And a lot of people have been commenting. I think I'm up to almost 300 comments. And like I said, I had no expectation that this was going to be that impactful for people. But in the video, what I'm asking people to do is to visualize their inner child, to close their eyes and visualize their inner child, and to just visualize yourself giving a big hug to your inner child and just telling your inner child how much you love them, right? And that was it. That was pretty much the TikTok video. It was less than 50 seconds, and there was a preface to the video saying that this can be a bit emotional for some people, right? And the comments were overwhelming, overwhelmingly powerful in a sense, because a lot of people that commented back on that video, I mean, the theme was, gosh, when I did your exercise, I cried right away. I didn't think that I needed heat to heal my inner child. I didn't know that I needed that. Like saying all of these very powerful responses. And of course, I try to respond back to every person who left a comment, right? And I saw a very common theme, a common thread when I put up this video, this TikTok video, and some of the common threads are I got very emotional. I didn't know that my inner child needed healing. I also felt that I need to do this a lot more, and some people even said that they were numb to it, right? So, and of course, all the other comments like this is so powerful, thank you so much. A lot of people were very grateful. So the reason why this is important for your healing journey, right, is because most of our trauma comes from our childhood, right? And um, I will keep saying this over and over. You know, your trauma probably didn't start with you, but your healing is definitely your responsibility. And to understand the trauma, the origination of where those emotions and those feelings, those behaviors, those beliefs come from, you really have to look back into how you were raised, your upbringing, the influence of your parents, your environment when you were younger. And that's important because when we're younger, we're so open. Like we're like sponges. We can feel, we can act, we can um, intuitively understand things, right? And on a very wide spectrum of energy, right? As we get older and as we get kind of brainwashed in belief systems by external factors like your parents and media and school and all these things, right? We become a bit programmed to believing certain things, behaving certain ways, right? And it kind of strips away who we really are. If you want to really know who you really are, look back when you were a kid, because those are the moments where you were more present. You had nothing that could persuade um, the way you felt because all you wanted to do was enjoy yourself, right? Live in the present moment all the time. It wasn't until, you get to those age of reasoning like 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10, that things start to make sense. But in the purest form of, love and light and that deep energy of your true self, those initial years are crucial, right? That's why they say when you raise kids, those very early years, they're more impressionable at that time. But we've learned from generations of parenting and generational trauma and pattern cycles that we're supposed to be raising our kids a certain way, and that pattern cycle just keeps happening over and over and over. Like my parents didn't know how to raise us, didn't know about emotional trauma, right? They didn't know about, expressing their feelings, or they didn't know about external factors that can cause negative behaviors later on in life, right? They didn't know that. Their generation was never taught this, right? So we are exposed to so many different things. So many different things. So when people do this exercise of just visualizing and visualizing their younger self, instantly what happens is your imagination kicks your subconscious into gear, right? And your subconscious doesn't know between imagination or reality. That's why visualizing is so important. Meditation is so important. You have this amazing tool called your imagination that you can use anytime you want. Anytime you want. And the more vivid and imaginative you can be, the more powerful you can have these experiences become, right? And you can tell by some of the different comments that I got on my TikTok video, people were explaining like, in detail, wow, because I gave them a period of ages that they can go back to, and it was from like 5 to 12 years old. And people who did the exercise, they would say, when I was 6 years old, I remember, that was the first time I was, sexually abused, right? And it brought me back, and I held her. I held my my inner child, and told her that I loved her and that it wasn't your fault, and like just very vulnerable, right? And this exercise is so powerful in that sense because it brings us back to that instant. Now, is it going to be easy to get over? Is it going to be easy to face? No. No trauma is easy to face, right? But we have to experience and go through that trauma because it'll help us move on from that event. Now, some of these traumas that we do carry from our childhood, most times our subconscious suppresses those events. Some people even forget their whole childhood. Like there are years where people don't even remember what happened, right? I mean, I had instances where I didn't remember something happened until I started doing energy healing. So what happens to those traumatic events is your subconscious suppresses that memory and tucks it away somewhere in your body or deep into your subconscious mind that you basically forget so that you can actually live life in a normal fashion. Because if you start to replay that traumatic event over and over and over and over in your head, you're going to get PTSD, right? That's what PTSD is. It just keeps replaying over and over, and your mind cannot fathom or can't understand what's going on because whatever it's seeing in your mind, it acts as its reality, right? There is no difference, right? And that's how your subconscious mind works. It's a very literal place. Even biologically, what happens is when you experience these traumatic events, chemicals start to be produced in your body. The same chemicals that gets produced when you actually experienced that trauma. So even physiologically, you're going through the same event over and over and over and over. And if you continue to go over that event over and over, it's going to make you go crazy, right? Unfortunately, your mind can't handle that stress, that mental stress, that trauma. And that's what trauma is. It's just something that your mind can't comprehend. But luckily, we have this default mechanism, your subconscious, that can kind of suppress those memories, but for a period of time. Only for a period of time, right? Because after so many years of suppression, the energy from that trauma is going to start to build and build and build. And then it's going to be reflected and manifested in our belief systems, in our behaviors, in our reactions to things, right? This is how triggers are formed. This is how these are reasons why we attract specific people, right? If we were neglected as a child, which can also be traumatic, right? Anything you go through as a child can be traumatic. Like even neglect as a child is traumatic. Like even if your parents were there, but then they never paid attention to you or they never spent time with you, that can also be traumatic, right? The definition of trauma doesn't mean like something crazy that's happening that, alters your reality. It could be the smallest things, right? It could be your parents never picking you up on time after school, right? It could be your parents leaving you alone for a long period of time, right? So those times where your mind can't understand what's going on, those are those traumatic times. And if you go through those times, what can happen later on in life is it can create these type of behaviors, right? Codependency, right? People pleasing. It could create other negative behaviors in your relationships. You're going to attract narcissists. You're going to attract people who abuse you verbally, emotionally, physically. Because when you were younger, you were exposed to that. So your subconscious mind thinks, well, if you were exposed to this when you were younger, then this is what is normal for you, right? And if it's normal for you, then it's going to manifest itself externally because energetically you're going to be attracting that same energy, right? And like I said, we don't get taught this. We don't get taught this in school. I had to learn this on my own as well. So please don't, regret or, think bad of yourself. We all have to learn all these things, okay? And if you already have this awareness and you're working on yourself and you're on this healing journey and you're taking your inner child, very seriously in this manner, then that's great, right? Just keep working on yourself and keep doing the things you need to do to heal. And a great place to start is when you were a child. A lot of people that commented on that video, I was just blown away by the amount of vulnerability that people displayed, in their comments, and how raw they were. I mean, almost everybody said they cried, like it was just like, gosh, I didn't know that this can hit me so hard that, that I'm actually crying right now. Or, gosh, like, when I did the exercise, like immediately I felt, you know, I could see my inner child, and I gave her a nice tight hug, and I told her that I loved her, and I was crying for a long time, Yeah. And people even said, like, and some people even said, like, when they started to feel something, they automatically shut off because they didn't want to cry, you know? And the things that I would respond back is, no, you're supposed to, right? This exercise isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to help you face some of those traumas. And if you're going to cry, cry. Because at the time, you didn't give yourself the chance to cry, right? You didn't give yourself the chance to process those emotions at the time it happened. I never got a chance to cry, ever, right? Never. Like, I was like this, trying to hold it in. And my father would be like, if I see one tear, it's over. You would get a whooping, right? I had to hold everything in. But when I did this exercise, before, and I started to understand, these traumas, once I felt it, it was like the Hoover Dam broke. It was just like tears just flowed down my face, for hours, sometimes even weeks, because you've been holding that energy in for so long because you didn't get a chance to express, right? We have to express these emotions. But like I said, based on our situation and circumstance growing up, most of us didn't have that chance. So it created a lot of these inner child wounds, right? Wounds of abandonment, wounds of, no non-protection, wounds of neglect, wounds of codependency. All of these behaviors and energies that we carry. I mean, it's very deep. It can go super deep, right? Wounds of shame is the prevalent one, right? Especially in like the Asian culture or other cultures out there. Shame, guilt, humiliation, gaslighting, like all of these behaviors, like, we carry since we were, younger. So, when you do exercises like this, right? And it's very simple. Like I said, it was just a very simple, use your imagination to visualize your younger self. Take a couple deep breaths, close your eyes, use your imagination, visualize a younger self of you from 5 to 12 years old, right? And if you have that younger self in your mind, go over there and give your younger self a hug. Tell them how much you love them, right? And just that alone, what happens is you activate this deep part of yourself. It opens up the channel to this precious, innocent, loving person that is you, right? You. That was you. And most of us, in that raw form of us in our younger child, in our younger selves, all we wanted to do was play. All we wanted to do was love. All we wanted to do was enjoy ourselves, right? We knew nothing about all of these negative vibrations or emotions or trauma. We didn't want to know, because all what mattered to us was our joy, right? That's all that mattered. That's all we wanted to do. We were seeking joy constantly and just learning about our environment, right? So, um, like I said, this practice is very important. I think everyone should do it, right? Some people did have some um, difficulties doing it, and it's not going to work right away, right? Healing is always a journey, Um, this may be even difficult for some people. Some people even said, like, I couldn't go back to when I was 5. I can only go back when I was like 18 or 16 or 14. That's okay, right? Your subconscious mind will show you and take you back to those moments where it thinks that you need to heal from. That's how super intelligent our subconscious minds are. We house all of these all of these data points in this intricate supercomputer that we call our subconscious mind. And everyone has a capability to access this subconscious mind. Like I said, just use your imagination. Just visualize, right? Everyone has a subconscious mind. That's what allows us to even connect collectively to other people, right? That's how it allows us to even feel and know, things about other people that are around us. That's how we can be a bit empathetic or even have these kind of, metaphysical psychic abilities, right? I mean, we have this amazing supercomputer that is in our being that we can access. And this supercomputer forgets about nothing. It knows every single point of your life. Even if you're in a coma, even if you, suffer from brain damage or anything like that, like, it still doesn't forget. Okay? You can go under hypnosis and can recall things that you probably didn't know you remembered. Okay? So, if we do this type of practice, you can utilize this as a tool for healing. And that's so important because what do I always say, right? Healed people heal people. And if you continue to do this exercise and you start to realize some of the things that you've gone through in your childhood, it can give you a lot more clarity. It can give you a lot more patience, a lot more compassion, a lot more love, understanding, empathy for yourself, right? We always tend to, put ourselves last. We always tend to, show love to ourselves last, right? Because we have all of these behaviors, or we feel guilted into doing certain things, or we feel like we never matter, right? But the most important person that should matter most is us, right? And there are a lot of other, exercises, particularly for the inner child healing, that you can do. But this is a simple way, just waking up, using your imagination and giving your inner child a hug. You can write letters to your inner child, right? You can meditate and set the intention. You can have conversations with your inner child, right? With some of my students, I have them get a picture of their younger self and put it in their journal and say, okay, for the next week, I want you to look at this picture and I want you to write everything that comes to mind, what you would tell your younger self. And every day you write a journal entry for 7 days. And the practice is powerful, right? And once you start doing this, things will come up naturally. And like I said, things that you've even forgotten, because now the subconscious is now aware that you want to go this deep and start to kind of uncover and unlearn or heal from some of those past traumas, right? And it can be very cathartic. Is it going to be super emotional? Yeah. Are you going to cry? Hell yes. Okay. You are going to be emotional. Like I said, you can't get around it. All right? Because your body is going to signal itself and say, wow, okay, we're going to go there. We're going to go that deep. All right. Well, if we go that deep, you're going to feel something. Okay. You're going to feel something, right? And once you feel it, of course, your body's going to naturally react, right? You can feel angry, you can feel sadness, you can feel humiliated, you can feel rejected, right? All of these emotions you can feel worthless, like there's so many emotions, but let yourself feel. And once you feel from that inner child, being, let yourself feel it. Don't try to hold back your feelings and stop yourself from crying or, you know, um, put your ego involved and try to, be tough. No. What your inner child needs to do is to let it out. Okay. Your inner child needs to let go of all of those emotions. Your inner child needs to just release all of those energies. And once it's released, then you'll probably feel a lot better. You know, um, most people in the comments on that TikTok video didn't know why they were crying, didn't know why it was so impactful that they started to cry. Some people even said, like, I never cry. I'm so numb. I never cry. But when I did this exercise, I cried immediately. And I said, of course you did. Right? You not being able to feel emotionally is a learned behavior. But if you use your visualization and your imagination, we're accessing a very deep part of your being. And like I said, your imagination is a powerful tool for healing. Okay? You can go to any therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, and they'll do these type of visualizations. If you go to hypnotherapist, they'll put you in under hypnosis. And what you're doing is accessing that information. But if you understand that your subconscious mind doesn't know imagination from reality, and you could use it as a tool to heal, then why not do it? Right? The whole point of this is to heal, to start the healing process. Even in emotion code, right? A lot of the energies release, you'll see all my clients, you'll see them release emotions from when they were young, right? 2, 3 years old, 4, 5 years old. And they're like, wow, I didn't even think I could feel that emotion at that young age. Yes, you can. Okay? Yes, you can. Your subconscious mind will always have that energy signature of each emotion every time you feel it. But the only thing is, when we're children, we don't know how to express it verbally. Energy signatures are always there. We just can't put a word to it, right? I'm pretty sure at 5 you can't say, well, I'm depressed. You don't know what it is yet, but the energy frequency is always there. You just can't explain it, because you haven't learned about how to categorize or name that emotion. That's why when we're younger, all we do is cry. That's how we express. We just cry or yell or scream, right? The energy has to flow out somehow. And that's all kids do. They tantrum, right? And then after they tantrum, they feel good. Everything is copacetic. Everything is fine. It's like it never even happened, right? But we have to let ourselves feel. And as a child or even as a parent, when we kind of negate our children from feeling, what can happen is that could be a traumatic event. And that could be an event where they're suppressing more of that energy. And that's what we don't want. Right? That's what we don't want. I tell people all the time, if as an adult, if we feel an emotion and we just let it out, in a very healthy way, we wouldn't have a lot of these ailments that we see prevalent in society today with depression and anxiety and disease. We wouldn't. Because emotions, all it does is it's a signal for our bodies, and then it stresses us out. And what do we have to do with stress? We have to let the energy flow. But we don't. We hold on to it tightly. Right? I mean, it's just like it messes up everything, right? It creates imbalances. It creates more stress. And what happens when you create more stress? All these things happen. You can't sleep at night, right? You get triggered easily. You start to have body aches. You start to doubt yourself, limiting belief. It's just a whole bunch of things that can happen. Okay? So, doing this work is super important, right? Your inner child work. And like I said, the easiest exercise is to just use your visualization, use your imagination, just imagine you at whatever age, you know, and just imagine you speaking to your inner child. And best believe you're going to feel something. Okay? And if you can't go out, if you can't access that, just continue to try anyways, right? Sooner or later, it will happen. Trust me. Okay? I thought that I could never access it myself, and I did. And when I did, it was a release that it was uncomparable to everything else that I felt. There was a moment where I even forgot specific things, and I talked about it a lot. I was contemplating suicide at 7, which I totally forgot, for a long time. I didn't tell anybody this until it came up in energy healing. And when it did, it was like, wow, the release was powerful. Okay, powerful. So, that is it for tonight's show. The Ripple Effect of Healing is about inner child healing. Like I said, if you want to go check out the TikTok video, just go to my page at jchantalanxy, and you can see it there. I did it about 2 days ago, and it's still getting a lot of views. It's still getting a lot of comments, which tells me, a lot of people are, being impacted by this. So I think it's a powerful exercise that everyone should do, right? And this can be a tool that you can use for your healing journey, right? Because that's what matters, right? That's definitely what, when you look in your future, you want these things, you want these events to remind you, and teach you about the things that you had to heal from, so you can be a better person, right? But if you don't heal from it and it's still suppressed, it's going to come out one way or another, right? That's how energy works. That's how emotions work. Okay? We have to get back to that part of us and heal that part of us, right? It's a great starting point. All right, so thank you so much. I just want to shout out to the Healing Tribe. I see some folks in here. Yeah, Nix, and Lisa, Wendy, Lexi, what's going on? Amazing. Nikita, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your support and presence here on the live. If this is very valuable for you, please share. All right, please share this episode or tag people. I'm all about spreading the message of healing so that we can create this ripple together, right? We can all use a lot of healing, especially now. I mean, there's so much things going on in the world, right? And it can be hard to take in sometime. And sometimes every time we turn on the TV, we're deeply affected by it, right? But the thing that I always tell people is we have to protect our own energy. Okay, we have to just focus on ourselves. If we focus on ourselves and our healing, everything else will change. Okay, everything around you, everything inside of you, everything and anyone connected to you is going to change. The healing will transcend space and time. Okay, if the energy is released and you heal, it will transcend space and time. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, just focus on yourself. All right, so that is it, beloveds. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'm here every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Like I said, you can also follow me on TikTok. Just and one more thing before I go, I actually did a healing type of circle with a Theta Master on Clubhouse, and it was powerful. So if you're on Clubhouse, go ahead and follow me there. Let's connect there. It's at J_Chantalanxy, the letter J. We're going to be having some more rooms in the healing as well. Also, we're going to kickstart back our live energy healing sessions on TikTok on our Emotion Ally page. And I think there's a new feature now on TikTok Live that I can actually bring people on the screen. So I'm gonna try to do that if I have that feature, so I can actually do live healing with the person there with me. I'm super excited about that. I just found out like yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. And then we also have our group energy healing sessions also being reactivated for this Friday. I'm going to send out the email tonight, so look out for that as well if you're on the email list. If you're not, feel free to email me and get on our list, and hopefully we can get you involved with that. All right. Thank you so much. Be safe, be blessed, and always remember to protect your energy at all costs. Okay? Protect your energy at all costs. I love your faces. I'll talk soon. See you next week. Peace.